As we go on for the topics, we're going to go with which is better, a good old recurring bit. And we wanted to go back to some music themes for you guys.
Been a while.
And this one is interesting for a few reasons. First is, first let me do the songs. So we got Killer Instinct, the main theme from the Super NES, versus Rocket Knight Adventures Stage 1 from the Genesis. Now, I didn't know this as we were picking these games, because I basically asked Jim, what's a good Sega Genesis game that has really well-known music, and I decided to choose Killer Instinct. Listening to them back-to-back, it sounds like they're on the opposite systems of what they should be. Like Rocket Knight Adventures kind of sounds like what a Super NES game would sound like, and Killer Instinct is a game that Genesis wants to sound like, but it can't because it has a shitty sound processor.
How dare you, sir?
But, I mean, for those of you, if you haven't heard them, we got links below. Go listen to them real quick. But if you have listened to them, Killer Instinct, you have, the electric guitar going, and that heavy riff is very memorable, and most kids' childhood are pretty well known for it. Whereas the Rocket Knight Adventures is very, I guess, triumphant would be the right word.
Yeah, it's like an adventure's about to start.
Yeah. So they can't be more different in terms of what they're trying to portray. But like I said, it's just funny to me that they do sound like what you would think the opposite would be for each system. Because Sega was always known for trying to do like more hard, rocky sounds. And yeah, Super NES always had that kind of big adventure sounds. Not many games on Genesis have that kind of sound to them. That wasn't a dig. That was
go. Not as many.
I mean, think about it. All your favorite themes usually were heavy guitar riffs or like kind of more electronica style sounds. They weren't exactly superhero-ish.
Right, Sonic isn't heavy metal electronica.
It's electronica.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
No.
It's not adventurous. Not even close.
Adventurous?
Yeah. So, before Jim tries to say his terrible pick, we all know Killer Instinct's better.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
It's more memorable, and not one person other than Jim and the three of you that may agree with him on Twitter would ever say that, oh man, it's a really great top 10 Sega Genesis soundtrack? The Rocket Knight Adventures. It is good. I'm not going to say it's bad. I'm just saying, if you talk about iconic and memorable, that guitar riff with the Killer Instinct theme. And of course, I may be biased because every time I hear that song, it just makes me think of the CD version that came with the game. And how many games out there did you know came with the CD because their soundtrack was so good that you wanted to listen to it outside of the game?
Comic Zone.
But nobody played that.
Everyone played Comic Zone.
Not as much as Killer Instinct.
Oh.
So, I mean, this is kind of an open and shut one. Jim could have picked something better, but he chose Rocket Knight Adventures, and it's cute. But it just doesn't compare.
Right. The only thing sound-wise anyone talks about with Killer Instinct is the voice sampling in it. No one talks about the fucking music in Killer Instinct.
Are you kidding me?
No one.
Jim, as we've well established in this site, you are so out of touch with real fans of games and your choices.
All right.
That most people know Killer Instinct had a killer soundtrack.
It had a great soundtrack. I'm not saying it didn't. You probably could have picked a better song from the soundtrack because the intro theme, it's all right. Sounds way better in the arcade, or on the CD, but what you actually get in-game, little bland, little sparse. You get the Lars Ulrich St. Anger era, trash can sounding drums. You get the overly reverby kind of attempt at mimicking a guitar in there. It's okay. It's a little on the bland side, a little light, not as light as it could be. Whereas you have the big booming crescendo that is the Rocket Knight Adventures Theme 1 sound with all the different layered music tracks on top of each other, all the varied instrumentation along with it, and just bringing you right into the game. Not a brrr. It's more timeless.
So I think he just sealed his fate with everything he just said because we know none of that's true. It's cute. It's on a very small loop. There's not much to it.
Small loop. Yours is like 30 seconds. And my song's like a minute and a half in build-up.
There is an amazing flute within the Killer Instinct theme, and you can't take that away from it, Jim.
Oh, the sounding shit and thing? Yeah, it sounds like crap. It sounds better on... See, you're thinking too much, and I had to point this out to you, of the CD quality one that came from the arcade. Because I had to point you back to the Super NES one that you're going, oh, it's just as good, when it's not even close to that
Number
quality.
one, never said it was just as good. See, so now you got a liar on your hands.
Liar my
He's
ass.
making things up.
This is what's going on in your head here.
And the bigger problem is, he's right. There are better songs on the Killer Instinct, soundtrack and some of the particular stages. But I was trying to keep it semi-fair for him, and he fucked it up. By me picking one of the more mid-tier songs from that soundtrack, he still couldn't beat it. So I win, as we see. And
correct.
And yeah, so Jim, hopefully next time you bring your A game when it comes to picking a
song. No, I'm going to die on this hill. I can't wait to see these comments.
Jim,
you motherfuckers burn out to me down the goddamn river.
You literally, we could go back to every one we've ever done, of which is better, overrated, underrated. You haven't won something yet.
Look, Brian, it's a gimmick of the page that everyone turns against me. Everyone goes, ha ha ha, Jim's going to be mad again.
But Jim, if it's a gimmick of the page, is it also a gimmick of the world? Is it a gimmick of all of our friends? Is it a gimmick of everything that everyone just happens to turn against
you? Ask our friends any of these questions that we pose.
Or is it possible where there's smoke, there's fire, Jim?
No, Brian.
Is it possible?
No.
Is it a little bit possible? Some were B players, some were A players. I'm just saying, I've done better than you at your favorite game, Streets of Rage 2. I've done better than you at your other favorite game, Star Fox 64. How much more do I have to prove that I'm right? I mean, come on. I even gave you the easiest out with that Resident Evil. Remember that little overrated, underrated, and you fucked it up by arguing the wrong side, Jim? And you set it up. I
did set it up, and I did. I had an easy win, and I fucked it up. That one I fucked up. That was on me.
And then all the other ones are just happenstance, Jim. That no one agrees with you.
Happenstance.
So, sure. Sound off below. If you're feeling sad, if you really want to give Jim a win, you can try and throw it for him. But we
listen
all know
to these music tracks below.
So we all know the facts. It's all right. If you want to throw him a bone, be like, yeah, Jim, you're right. Woo!
And you know what? For all I know, I could be wrong about the overall soundtrack of Killer Instinct. Fine, it is a very good soundtrack. But these two songs against each other, I am not wrong.
Sure, Jim. Whatever you say. So...